I'm sorry, Britt
and Hannah
can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because they're reading. So welcome to our first ever Look What You Made Me Read Vault episode. We are your hosts. I'm Britt.
And I'm Hannah. And we've got a list of books, and these are in a red underlined because we picked them for each other to read this week.
We sure did. And the world moves on, but one thing is for sure, we will stay reading. So especially recommendations from each other or from you, our listeners. So if you have recommendations, send them our way.
So this week we each picked a book that we wanted the other to read. We'll go into our reasons why we chose the book and our thoughts and feelings.
Yes, we will not be avoiding spoilers. We'll warn you before we enter one book and the other, and we're about to tell you which books we chose.
Dear reader.
All right, so the book that I asked Hannah to read. So our first ever Look What You Made Me Read. We want listener recommendations, but we wanted to kick things off with just forcing each other to read a book that we were like, we think that you'll like this, or I want to talk to you about this. So I chose The Romantic Suspense, All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles for Hannah to read. And I'm going to go over trigger warnings in a synopsis like we usually do. And we're going to split the episode into two so you'll know when we're talking about All the Missing Pieces or the other book. So we did get both the triggers and the synopsis from Storygraph. Trigger warnings: kidnapping, grief, sexual content, murder, violence, death, injury, stalking, blood, rape, torture, abuse. This is a romantic suspense, so there are suspenseful, more thriller or mystery type elements, so just check your triggers if you have any concerns. And the synopsis: sometimes the last thing you expect is exactly what you need, the final missing piece. And sometimes it comes in the form of a towering, broody sheriff determined to get in your way at every step. Ridley Sawyer knows what it's like to miss someone, to feel like a piece of her vanished, because it happened to her the night her twin sister disappeared. Now, Ridley channels that loss into hope, traveling the country, covering cold cases for her true crime podcast. She might not have found justice for her sister, but that doesn't stop her from finding it for others. Until Sheriff Coulter Brooks gets in her way. Colt knows what it's like to have reporters descend on his town in the wake of a tragedy, and he's not about to let a fiery podcaster stir up trouble. It doesn't matter that her haunting blue eyes tell him there's more to Ridley's story, or that he can't stop imagining what it would be like to touch her. But when Ridley's cold case turns hot and she's thrust into the crosshairs, Colt has no choice but to step in. Suddenly, Ridley's living at his house, drinking his whiskey, and stealing his dog's affections. But she's also proving that she's much more than his first impression. And as they get closer to the truth, the game they've been playing might just turn deadly.
And why did you choose this book for me?
So I chose this book for you because this was my first ever romantic suspense, and I can't believe that we've never read romantic suspense before.
Right?
What do you guys, why did no one tell us? Why did no one we read romance and thrillers as our primary genres? Those are our two genres. Why did no one tell us that there was this delicious in-between that combines both of them?
Right.
So I read it. I had an amazing time with it. I thought this was such a good book. And I was like, Hannah, please read it, because I think that you'll love it. So that's why I ended up choosing this book for you.
I was very excited to read it. And I chose the thriller She Started It by Sian Gilbert for Britt to read.
Yes.
So these are the triggers, also from Storygraph. Bullying, suicide, self-harm, murder, toxic friendship, suicidal thoughts, blood, death, violence, emotional abuse, alcohol, mental illness, injury, detail, gaslighting, homophobia, drug abuse, infidelity, body shaming, gore, abuse in all forms. Please check your triggers with this one.
Yes.
And the synopsis from Storygraph. The party of a lifetime is nothing like what they expected. Annabelle, Esther, Tanya, and Chloe are best friends, or were as children, despite drifting apart in adulthood. Shared secrets have kept them bonded for better or worse, even as their childhood dreams haven't quite turned out as they hoped. Then one day they receive a wholly unexpected, but not entirely unwelcome, invitation from another old friend. Poppy Greer has invited them all to her extravagant bachelorette party. A first-class plane ticket to 3 days of white sand, cocktails, and relaxation on a luxe private island in the Bahamas. None of them have spoken to Poppy in years, but Poppy's Instagram pics show that the girl they used to consider the weakest link in their group has definitely made good and made money. Curiosity gets the better of them. Besides, who can turn down a posh, all-expenses-paid vacation on a Caribbean island? The first-class flight and the island's accommodations are just as opulent as expected, even if the scenic island proves much more remote than they've anticipated. Quite remote, in fact, that there's no cell service, no other guests. The women quickly discover that they've underestimated Poppy and each other. As their darkest secrets are revealed, the tropical adventure morphs into a terrifying nightmare.
Oh, and Hannah, why did you pick this book for me?
I feel like there's been so many times I wanted to reference this book and like minor things that have happened, and
Yeah.
that I just wanted you in on the circle so we could have like
Yes.
share some inside jokes with just a random book that we have.
I love that. And there's so much in this book. So we obviously each pick songs for these books. Our original song choices for our books, we've probably talked about before. We, had previously, and then we also picked a song for the other person. So do we want to just do each of our All the Missing Pieces song, and then we can do She Started It?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So All the Missing Pieces, I originally picked for this book, You're Gonna Go Far by Noah Kahn.
My boy Noah. I picked Space Song by Beach House.
I don't think I know that song.
It's been in a lot of shows.
Okay.
So you might recognize it, but
yeah. Love that. And then for She Started It, what song did you pick?
Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, naturally. I ended up picking Bad Blood by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I feel like those were literally the only two options. I'm pretty sure. I think I picked Look What You Made Me Do for another book. I couldn't
remember, but I think you did. I mean, I picked Bad Blood for another book.
You did. You picked Bad Blood for
Local
Women Missing. I want to see real quick. I just want to see I think this is on our season 2 playlist. If Look What You Made Me Do, if I'm remembering correctly.
I couldn't remember, but I was like, that's my song.
I picked it for First Lie Wins.
That makes sense.
First Lie Wins. I did Look What You Made Me Do. All right, everyone. Spoilers are ahead. We are going to start with All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles, and then we'll be talking about She Started It. So we will have timestamps in the description on YouTube, Spotify, in our show notes. So if you have not read All the Missing Pieces and you've read She Started It or vice versa, you can skip ahead and we will have those marked out for you. So we're going to start with All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles, our first ever romantic suspense. So my first question to you is, did you enjoy the book?
Yes, I did.
Love it.
I'm
so glad.
Questioning, though. I mean, I had to keep reminding myself that it was like a romance book, too.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I don't trust the sheriff.
I know.
But I had to keep reminding myself, like, no, this is the romantic lead. Like, you can trust him. But I was like, the whole time.
I know. This book, so when I read it, I did it on audio, and there was something about it that, like, I was like, this combines all of my favorite things. This is like Listen for the Lie meets like one of my favorite like small town romances. Like it felt like almost an Elsie Silver type book set in a small town with Listen for the Lie, like thriller, like tied into it.
Yeah. The twist, I like texted you and I was like, what? Like I could not believe who it was.
Yes.
That I was not tracking that at all. I think because like I had to keep reminding myself that it wasn't like who I thought it could be, but like I couldn't like get Colt out of my mind as like the bad guy, even though he wasn't. So when it was revealed that it was Sully, I was like, oh my gosh, Sully.
I know. I had a weird feeling about him, but like it just didn't make sense logically, like with the way it was set up in the book. So I was like, maybe not. I thought it was going to be one of Colt's friends. Like I thought it was going to be one of his friends.
Yeah, and then even like the revelation that the coach was having like a relationship with. But I thought that was clever about how they figured out the coach, because they were like, oh, what was the weather on this day? Like,
yes,
since they faked the video. I thought that was really interesting, and it made me like wonder.
Yeah, because they did like he walked in what, like shorts and a t-shirt, and it was like the dead of winter still, almost like absolutely freezing day. Like it wouldn't have made sense. I will say my only question to that, and I know it like caught him in the lie and stuff, if you live in the Midwest, men will wear shorts and flip-flops when it's like 27 degrees outside. Like if it was previously 0 degrees and now it's 27, it is now shorts and flip-flops weather. Like this is a Michigan Midwest thing.
Yeah.
So in my head I was like, oh, he's definitely just like wearing his shorts because it was like a warm day.
Yep.
But yeah.
Did you like the balance between romance and suspense, though? Did it work for you?
Yeah, I actually, so I gave this book 4.5 moons. Like, that was my official rating when I read it. I feel like it was such a good balance of the romance to the, like, thrilling, suspenseful plot line. The reason I didn't give it, like, a full 5 was I felt like the ending was, I know it was supposed to be, like, chaotic, but with all of that, all of the lead up, it just felt very, like, oh my God, this is all happening in, like, this tiny condensed amount of time. And again, that is genre specific. Like, that does happen a lot in thrillers and stuff. I just feel like I was missing, like, just a little something from it, but it was pretty close to, like, a 5-star read for me. I will say, it made me want to pick up so much more romantic suspense. Like, I want to read a lot of Catherine Cowles' backlog. I really enjoyed her style of writing. Oh, and the other thing, there was a couple of phrases, and this could have just been an audiobook thing. Sometimes when listening to books, I can, like, if there's a same phrase used again and again, it, like, triggers something in my brain. And, like, I mean, there's only so many combinations of words that you can use to describe things. So it's not like I'm not, like, dogging everyone for that, but there was specifically knuckles bleaching. I don't know what it was about that, but it was used, like, a minimum of a dozen times. It felt like, and it just kept happening again and again. And it kind of, like, took me out of the story. And again, that's a me problem. Like, that's on me. But I felt like that particular description is one that I'd, like, heard over and over again. So with that, that's what dropped my rating down. But I do feel like it was such a good balance, and I'm so excited to read more by her.
Yeah, I think mine is, I don't know, between a 3.5 and a 4.
Yeah.
Only because I think it was a me problem of, like, I enjoyed it a lot, but I still couldn't get over, like, that Colt wasn't a bad guy.
Which is, and maybe our next romantic suspense will be easier for you to, like, digest.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but watch we pick one, and it is, like, the person that was supposedly the love interest, like, is the bad guy. Like, watch that happen to us. But
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Was there anything about his behavior specifically, or did you buy into him at any point? Like, by a certain point in the book, did you feel like you were secure with him, or did you never feel secure with him as a romantic lead?
I felt secure with him once we found out a little bit more about, like, his sister and everything.
Yeah.
With that, but I don't know. I think it was just me just being like, I don't trust him. Like, why is she staying at his house? Like,
yeah,
come on, Ridley. Like, you, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, calm down.
And I feel like that is,
but
if we read more in this genre. Yeah. I was going to say, if we read more in this genre, I feel like it's going to be, like, maybe we'll have a better grasp on it. Because it did throw me off at first, because I felt so suspicious of everyone. Because anytime I go into a thriller, I'm like, y'all are all so suspicious. You're so suspicious. I trust no one.
Yeah.
I don't even trust myself when I'm reading a thriller.
Right.
So I feel like there is that, like, inherent, like, oh my God, like, I can't trust anyone. I did like Colt as an MMC, like, once we got past that.
I liked him. I just
strong and stable, and his friends were annoying. His friends were so fucking annoying. I understand. What I genuinely loved was the connection that Ridley had to Colt's sister and the conversations that they had. I felt like that was such an important, like, moment that they had there, turning her trauma of losing her sister into, like, really finding justice for other people. I thought was a really, like, profound way to write her character, and I feel like the growth was there. No, I really liked this one, and I'm so glad that you read it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad too.
Yeah.
Opened up a whole new world for us.
A whole new subgenre.
Yeah.
Okay, but is this categorized as a romance then? Like, is this a subgenre of romance specifically? I would assume so. I would assume so. Let me see what this is categorized.
I feel like this one would lean towards more romance.
But I wonder, I feel like not all of them
would
necessarily be, but let me see what this is. I'm curious. I have a feeling it's a subgenre of romance specifically. Yeah, so it's specifically romance, then romantic suspense, and then enemies to lovers is in there, but then mystery suspense. And then I want to see what it's categorized on Storygraph. That was from Goodreads. See, on Storygraph, the first 3 are fiction, mystery, then romance. So I would say it's a subgenre of romance.
I feel like that's where this one would fall in for me.
Yeah.
Especially with the, like, 2 narrators, like, going back and forth between them.
Yep. Oh, tell me about your song and how like you feel like your song relates to
Oh,
it.
yeah. So, my song, let me pull up the lyrics. One, I do think it's like a very vibey song. I discovered this song from a TV show. I don't know which one, but now I've like heard it a couple times in different shows.
Yeah.
But just a couple of lyrics. It's like, it was late at night and you held on tight from an empty seat. It will take a while to make you smile. Somewhere in these eyes, I'm on your side. That connection there, like, hey, I'm on your side. And
Yep.
what's repeated a lot in the song is like fall back into place, like with all the missing pieces and like trying to figure out like what happened in her sister's disappearance and everything. Just falling back into place and getting back into like kind of that normal rhythm is what like connected it to me with
Yeah.
it. Later in the song it says, what makes this fragile world go round? Were you ever lost? Was she ever found? So those are the highlights from there, but definitely listen to it.
I will.
It's a vibe. I could see it being in the movie on the soundtrack, of course.
Yeah. This feels like this would be such a good like limited series. This would be like such a good like Hulu pickup, Netflix pickup.
Yeah.
For like 8-show series. 8-episode show rather. But yeah, so I had You're Gonna Go Far by Noah Kahn, specifically like the entire So Pack Up Your Car, Put a Hand to Your Heart, Say Whatever You Feel, Be Wherever You Are. We Ain't Angry at You, Love, You're the Greatest Thing We've Lost. That to me is just Ridley with her sister. I mean, so much, but specifically the birds will still sing, your folks will still fight, the boards will still creak, the leaves will still die. We ain't angry at you, love. We'll be waiting for your love, and we'll all be here forever. And after the tragedy that Colt's sister went through, like this was just the epitome of like life will move on, but like we'll never forget you and like the place that you have here, and we will be waiting for you. I don't know. There was something about it. Like, I feel like not all the lyrics have to match up sometimes. Sometimes the song is just like the vibe. And this is an end credits song to me.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know.
An epilogue song.
An epilogue song between the folksy portion of it and just the Noah Kahn vibes. So yeah, I picked that one for this. So I love that. But would you recommend that people read this book?
I would, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Obviously I would too. Because I forced you to read it. Now here's the thing. The reason that you made me read She Started It is very different from the reason that I made you read this one, which I kind of love for this episode. But yeah, I'm excited. So All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited, but I did listen to it through libro.fm. Really enjoyed it and recommend the audiobook. And I'm very excited to read more from Catherine Cowles.
Same here. All right, next we're going to talk about She Started It.
You've been waiting for this. I can feel it.
I read it a while ago.
You did. You read, and the fact that it stuck with you this long.
Yeah, I still like think about it. And before we get into how crazy and wild it is, I do think that this book talks a lot on like topics like social media and like girlhood and different things that like is very exaggerated. And I think that's why it stuck with me, is like just those pieces. But
yeah,
what was your initial reaction?
I hated everyone in this book. I hated every single person in this book. They were insufferable. Oh my God, I hated them. However, I was fully entertained. I was locked and loaded. I was in this. Was it good? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Two different things. This was like the epitome of a train wreck I couldn't look away from because I was rooting for none of them.
No.
Not a singular person did I want to succeed in this book.
Because like once you find out what happens, like what these girls did to Poppy.
Dude.
Why the hell would they go on a bachelorette party, even if it was all expenses paid? Like what
because
you did to this girl,
people.
like you deserved
Horrifying. Also, like, and this book is one that you have to suspend so much belief in reality for, because I'm like, there's no way that they wouldn't believe that something happened. Like, I'm sure things get swept under the rug at school and things like that, but there's just something about the way that like everything went down with Poppy's final art project for, was it her GCSEs, and her final art final to get her into the school that she so desired. I had to suspend belief in reality because I was like, there's no way that no one believed her. Like, there's no way. Like, they had to have seen how isolated this girl was and like this mean group of girls. But dude, they were every single one of them I was hoping would be murdered. Every last one of them. I will say, this is one thing. I just texted Hannah, like, you guys know if you've been around, we try very hard to not discuss the book before we get on, unless there's something like we had to talk about Witchcraft for Wayward Girls a little bit to figure out how we were going to discuss such heavy topics. For this, the one thing that I said was like, unfortunately, I feel like the prologue or the opening of the book completely ruined it for me.
Mm-hmm.
If that was out of the book, I think that this could have been a significantly higher rating for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Because so the start of the book, and obviously spoilers, you guys, we're in she started
Yeah,
at territory.
Yep.
We already did that. But at the beginning, when it's the woman in the boat, I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
I think it's Annabelle. I think it's the one boat, right?
I'm talking about the one woman. It's Annabelle is the one
for the
yes.
Robin.
Yep. So when Robin's taking them to the island, she's talking to them. She calls Annabelle the bride, and Annabelle's like, "This isn't my wedding. This is Poppy Greer's wedding." She's confused by it, but then we get like a flash of Robin being like, "Oh, the bride's standing there covered in blood." And I think that this was meant to confuse us, like, "Oh, is this Poppy? Is this Annabelle?" But it didn't matter. I didn't want to know who was alive at the end.
So, like, I just opened my book, and I feel like, too, if it was just like there's only one bride waiting for me and she's covered in blood is how the book opens.
Yeah.
Which I like, but I wish that Robin didn't say the bride thing in the boat.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because that would have been fine.
And like that was revealed later on or something, you know?
Yes, there was something like that opening line really grips you, but I was like, but she mistook Annabelle for the bride, and immediately I knew in the back of my head Annabelle's going to live at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. I will say the intricate detailing of quote unquote Poppy taking them through, the trauma that they inflicted on her. The one thing I will say, I'm real good. I'm usually real good about sussing out a plot. I can usually figure things out. I can put things together. I put it together about like 77 seconds before it happened that Poppy was not Poppy, but she was her sister. Like that shocked me. I put it together like momentarily before it happened, but when I put it together, I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Because I literally thought it was just Poppy getting revenge.
Dude, same.
And I was like, get it, girl. Like these bitches, like, deserve it. But when we found out it was her sister, I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Okay.
Okay. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were all such shit people and I felt like I couldn't root for them, I struggled morally with deciding what felt like too much and what didn't.
Yeah.
Did you feel like any of the revenge portions, obviously there's murder, which probably is a little too far, but like in terms of ruining their personal lives, do you feel like anything in particular like felt really terrible to you?
I think all of it was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think like I'm trying to remember specifics because it has been probably over a year since I've read this.
Had, because I just read this one recently. They did, I think it was Esther was the one who was told to go skinny dipping and was recorded, sent to her office for sexual harassment. That was the only one out of every, like all of them were terrible. But that one in particular, like really upset me because I felt like that wasn't, I don't know, it felt like a lot. Now here's the thing. Like you said, all of the things sucked. All of them sucked. And it was all over the top.
I read this back in 2003.
2003?
Yeah. September 2003.
Hannah, 2003.
I'm like, yeah. When I was literally in middle school.
You were what, 11? You were almost 11?
Yeah. No. September 2023. Still a long time ago.
It is still a long time.
But not 2003.
But
I'm wearing my glasses, guys, so I should be able to see far. And I just
listen.
Maybe they're the wrong prescription.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we had Chloe had her homophobic comments posted on her socials since she was a social media influencer,
and that I think was the worst.
Yeah, and then we had Tanya, who was on drugs, but she was also keeping the secret that Chloe was sleeping with Annabelle's husband. Which, again, all of them sucked. So when they died, I was like, hee hee, yay. But the fact that, what's Poppy's sister's name? Was it
Georgia?
Wendy? Wait. Hold on. That is incorrect.
Wendy, you are right. Where did I get Georgia from?
Unclear, but that's okay. We were also in 2003, so maybe you just read a different version.
Yeah. The Mandela effect.
I don't know, like when Wendy did the grand reveal and everything was going on, what we're led to believe at the end is that Wendy gets to walk away, quite literally with murder, and
Yeah.
Annabelle's going to take the fall for everything. And the other ones just died. They got murdered. Now, Annabelle, what I thought was interesting was the way that Wendy had tricked them, Wendy/Poppy. We have so many books like this, Wendy/Poppy. What I thought was interesting, I kind of saw this coming because of another like 1-by-1 style thriller that I read where Poppy/Wendy had faked her death and then like forced other people to turn on each other. It reminded me of, I think it's a Frida McFadden actually. Something similar with that. So I was sus of her. I was like, she's dead. She's not dead. Like she's coming back for sure. But she basically turned Annabelle, and I think Annabelle and Esther were the two ones standing because Tanya was the first to die. Chloe died on the beach. And then Annabelle and Esther looked at each other and said, one of us is the murderer and it's not me. And both of them were like, not me. And then they ended up fighting and Annabelle ended up killing Esther. And then Wendy walks out as Poppy and is like, way to fucking go, bitch. You just killed your friend.
Right?
But,
Horrible
okay.
people.
Were they actually friends?
No, they couldn't have been.
These people? You guys, if you're listening to this and we've just spoiled everything and you haven't read the book, first of all, what are you doing? But like, I'm telling you, I could not fathom having people in my life like this.
No.
They're horrible people.
Yeah.
Horrible
Terrible.
people. What did you rate? What did you rate this book?
I don't. Who knows? Honestly, probably at the time, I probably rated it a 4.
Fair.
At the time.
Yeah.
Even like sitting on it now, though, I feel like I'm still leaving it as a 4. Just, I don't know. Just the vibes for me.
Yes. I mean, it stuck with you since 2003.
2003.
So I feel like it's, if something sticks with you for that long, like that really is like built into who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like for me, this lives between like a 3 and a 3.5. The 0.5 is solely for the like sheer entertainment value of like, I could not stop. Like, I was shocked by all of the horrendous things that they said and did so much that I like could not stop. Like,
I feel like I also liked it because I'm a huge like Bravo fan, and I just feel like that's like very exaggerated reality, and I feel that's what this was to me.
Yes.
So I feel like that is why I vibed with it, because it just felt like a a Bravo thriller.
Yeah. Oh, what I didn't like, one thing, obviously because they all suck, but the one thing like story wise, besides what I thought was like kind of ruined at the beginning, I thought that Poppy's diary entries from when she was young did not read like a adolescent child or they read very adult, like adult language, the way that she spoke about people and her feelings, like, because I think her first entry was when she was 9 or 11, like somewhere in that time frame. And then obviously she gets older through school, like through the GCSEs and all that. So it was 16. Oh, they're all British, by the way, which makes it better somehow. And I like the language in her diary. I was like, this is not a child's diary. Like, this is not. I thought it was going to be like something else, like a reveal later. But I just think it was like a misstep in language. Here's the thing. I had fun. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Let's hear about your song, though. I mean,
I
feel like both of ours are pretty obvious. So
it's Bad Blood. And I did not pick the Kendrick Lamar version. I did listen to both back to back to decide. But I feel like the Taylor Swift verses just hit this group better than the Kendrick ones do. However, we can keep Kendrick's You Forgive, You Forget, But You Never Let It Go. That would be preferred. So if we could just bridge those two, please, so that would be appreciated.
Taylor Swift plus the Eras Tour.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, like the chorus of Bad Blood, but the verses specifically, the first one, yes, sure. But the second one specifically, I said specifically about 17 times just now. I'm so sorry. So the second verse says, did you think we'd be fine? Still got scars on my back from your knife. So don't think it's in the past. These kind of wounds, they last and they last. And, unfortunately, Poppy did die by suicide. And now her sister Wendy is there to avenge her. But it was interesting, and why I picked this one is that they kept talking about leaving the past in the past and moving on from the past. And so this felt like it fit right in with that. And then it said, now did you think it all through? All these things will catch up to you, and time can heal, but this won't. So if you're coming my way, just don't. And like Hannah said, why the fuck did they get on the plane? Why did they go on this trip? Why? The last line that I need to mention, obviously, is Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes. You say sorry just for show. If you live like that, you live with ghosts. You forgive, you forget, but you never let it go.
I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, I had to.
I'm changing my song.
Mid-episode song change?
Yeah, because this lyric popped in my head as we were talking, and now I can't get out of it.
That's so fair. Let's hear it.
There's nothing I do better than revenge.
Oh,
So,
oh my God.
Where it's like the story starts and it was hot and it was summer, and then it's like I had it all. I had him right there when I wanted, where I wanted.
Yeah, and
him,
like replace him
they
with
went
them.
back and they talked to like about what happened when she was like younger.
Yes.
And then it's like I underestimated just who I was dealing with. She had to know the pain was beating on me like a drum. She underestimated who she was stealing from.
Yes.
And how it's like she's not a saint and she's not what you think. She's an actress. And she's going to find that stealing other people's toys on the playground won't make you many friends. And so I feel like that's a very much, I don't know, that song is just, I think fits more so.
Yes. Iconic.
So I changed my song mid-episode.
You know what? We can do what we want.
Yep.
This is our show.
And
this
it's like,
is our house.
Might
we
have
make
him,
the rules.
but I always get the last word. There's nothing I do better than revenge.
Ooh, I love that.
Yep.
Oh, the last question that I have for this book.
Yeah.
Obviously, you made me do it. So would we recommend this book?
Only to very specific people.
Yeah, I think, okay, you have to enjoy a level of drama, and you have to be able to remove yourself and be like, this is a fictional story and they all suck, but I'm just kind of like in it. Like I said, this is a book that if you want something that's going to suck you in and is a train wreck you can't look away from, it's not particularly good, but you will be entertained. Either. No. How many pages is it?
I guess 340.
I mean, that's...
But it's still like...
It's not that bad.
It's like...
Yeah. It moved fast. It was a very fast story. So, yeah, if you're looking for a really good, thought-provoking thriller, this is not the book for you.
No. But you want drama?
This has drama. This has so much drama. That was our very first Look What You Made Me Read Vault Track episode. So, thank you. Thank you all so much for listening. We would love to do more of these, and we would love to be forced to read books that you want us to read, where we read the same ones, things like that, or otherwise we're just going to keep forcing each other to read books.
Which is also fun, but we need to switch it up some.
Totally.
So follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, YouTube. Let us know what you want us to read, and also rate and review the podcast. Give us your thoughts and book recs on socials, and the Spotify comment for this episode. Let's do a heart and a knife for like romantic suspense.
Love that.
Romantic thriller. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And next week, everyone, we are actually taking a spring break. So there will not be an episode. You can take this time to catch up on your reading or catch up on some episodes that we have out, because we have lots of them. And we're coming back on April 9th with, I'm so excited. We're coming back April 9th with a very special manuscript vault track episode. And if you know manuscripts, we talk to authors. We talk to authors about their work. And we have a repeat author coming back to the podcast, you guys. Kaylee Smith is joining us again, and we are going to be discussing all things Enchantra, which is the sequel to Phantasma, and we are so thrilled to have her back on the podcast.
Yes, cannot wait. And then after that, join us on April 16th for the start of our spring mixtape episodes. The first one we are going to be discussing Ina Garten's memoir, along with our favorite book chefs as well. So it'll be fun. Our mixtape episodes are just going to be a lot of fun this time around.
So freaking excited, everyone. But yeah, again, thank y'all so much. And we will see you on April 9th for our manuscript vault track with Kaylee Smith.
And remember, keep reading with kindness.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.